wetland is a body of water that is shallow, probably less than 4 feet in depth. They're not always wet though. Wetlands can go through cycles of dry cycles where they can dry up or mostly dry up. But for the most part they hold water that runs off from the landscape or is a connection with groundwater.
Wetlands provide valuable resources for wildlife. They provide food, shelter, and nutrients for a wide range of plants and animals. Fish, insects, mussels, birds, amphibians, and mammals all live in wetlands. Tons of different microscopic animals teem in wetlands water.
Iowa, especially northwest Iowa, north central Iowa, wetlands were very, very prevalent on the landscape. It's estimated that the prairie pothole region, which Iowa belongs to, once contained 25 million wetlands. Most of those wetlands are no longer on the landscape. You can see remnants of them after heavy rains, where out on fields or landscapes you see water standing in those fields temporarily. So the landscape has definitely changed. We don't see all of those wetlands anymore.
As wetlands went away, so did the plants and animals that rely on them as habitat. The functionality of wetlands also went away. Flooding, erosion, and nutrient runoff have increased as a result of the elimination of wetlands.
Wetlands are being restored in certain areas. So we're obviously never going to restore all the wetlands that used to be on the landscape, and it's not feasible and would interfere with other land use practices as well. But we can use targeted approaches to restore wetlands, put wetlands back in places where they do the most good. From a wildlife benefit standpoint, those may be wetlands that are part of bigger complexes. So wildlife and wildlife biology dictates that large complexes of wetlands and restored habitat are very beneficial for species. So we also have the ability to prioritize where wetlands can be restored that have the best benefits for a lake or for a river system. Places where they can intercept the most nutrients and soil, slow down water, allow it to be filtered. So we can use wetlands on the landscape, restore wetlands or create wetlands on the landscape in a way that benefits water quality.
Help from laws and USDA programs like the Wetlands Reserve Program and Conservation Reserve Program have offered incentives for landowners to conserve their wetlands. This process usually involves removing drainage tiles and reseeding wetland areas. Since the programs began, we've seen an increase in wetland acreage, and some of the species, such as trumpeter swans, which were once extirpated from Iowa, have been successfully reintroduced.
Well, some of the things that we deal with that cause water quality impairments or cause problems in water quality are nutrients in soil. Nutrients in soil, soil carries those nutrients down to the lake, and so anything that we can put in the way, in the path of that water, to slow it down, to drop those sediments out, to utilize the nutrients with aquatic plants or other life that might be in a wetland, that benefits the lake. It slows the water down. The wetlands will release it or incorporate it into the groundwater and release it slowly down to our lake. So there's a lot of benefit for especially in the Iowa Great Lakes, where a lot of wetland restoration has already been done. But there's a lot of key places where wetland restorations would sure benefit water quality improvement efforts in the Iowa Great Lakes.